Today is Thursday, April 4th, about 9:15 in the morning, and I want to make this about Bitcoin. Now, I've done a lot of reading up on it the last week or so, and I decided to go ahead and set up an account, and I bought a Bitcoin on Monday when the price was at 100. And I set it up with, I set up a Mt. Gox account, which takes some time, and that still hasn't been fully verified yet. But then I also used Coinbase, and that seemed to be the easiest and the fastest one to get on and just get one Bitcoin put into the wallet. It takes a couple of days for even the Coinbase to verify a bank account, and it also takes a couple of days for the money to be withdrawn from the account in order to buy the Bitcoin, and then a day and a half later, the Bitcoin is supposed to be deposited into that wallet. So there is a little bit of a lag time. And the whole big news is the fact that the price went from 100 up to almost 150, and then crashed back down to, I saw it low of like 115. But since then, just in the last 36 hours, we've seen a traditional type consolidation where it leveled out at about 130. And now this morning has gone back up to 140. And, I see a lot of silver stackers that are, and a lot of hard money people that are attacking Bitcoin, saying, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's, there's no there, it's not backed by anything. Well, if you look at our current system is nothing more than paper notes that actually represent someone else's debt. So, in essence, Bitcoin is actually a step in the right direction in that it's issued without debt attached to it, and just like any other currency, its value is a perception of its users. So, could the Bitcoin crash back down to $5? Sure, it could. If one of the if a bunch of wallets get hacked, or if Mt. Gox gets hacked, or if the electricity goes out, won't be worth very much at all then either. And that's where your silver stack is supposed to come into play. I think that this Bitcoin is more of a complementary currency to stacking silver versus this debt-based currency that we have now. We're all slaves to these banks who create the currency out of thin air and then charge interest on top of it. That system is what's breaking down. The new system, whatever it may be, when you're purchasing things long distances away, it's kind of difficult to trade gold and silver in that respect. Do you send the product first and hope the guy sends you the silver coin? Where in this case you see the Bitcoin transactions being instant, and once you have the Bitcoin, you can then change that into dollars and then into silver down at your local coin shop, and if that's the route you want to go. I think that the general population has been so spoiled with the convenience of electronic and digital currency. They're all going to gravitate towards these digital currencies before that breaks down due to maybe electricity problems or whatever, and then finally the last monetary phase they might go to is a gold and silver coin. So as long as the electricity is still up, as long as commerce is still being conducted from a long distance away, I do think that there is a lot of value in Bitcoin because it's issued without debt, because there is no counterparty risk. The encryption, I'm going to have to go on what Cliff High has said. I mean, he writes code, and he's a guy that I've listened to for several years now, and I trust his analysis of it. He's tried to crash his wallet several times and has been able to bring it back up. So, you know, I'm just looking at it from the perspective of just the general population. Is the general population ready to go out and buy gold and silver coins and understand those transactions, and then how do you do that with long distance commerce? There may be a lack of trust. Somebody could say, hey, I've got this silver coin, I'm going to send it to you for whatever product, and then you make the exchange, it gets mailed, and it shows up and it happens to be a counterfeit of some kind. With Bitcoin, there's not that possibility that I know of. So I'm not telling anybody to go sell a bunch of silver and go get into Bitcoin. In fact, that's the wrong thing to do at this point. I would suggest that everybody go and buy at least one Bitcoin, because at these prices at 140, you got to figure there's only 11 million Bitcoin in existence right now. It's not a Ponzi scheme because the amount of Bitcoin that is going to be issued is capped at 21 million. That doesn't mean that there can't be 10 other digital cryptocurrencies to come out after that, and the whole cryptocurrency as a whole could become a Ponzi, and that there's so many overlapping, so many different types that it's like anybody can issue their own cryptocurrency, and so none of them have any value. I could see that happening, but as it stands right now, there are very few of them, and Bitcoin is king amongst them. The other thing that I like about the Bitcoin is that it can be divided into, I think, 1 million different pieces. So even though Bitcoin may go to, say, $1,000 a Bitcoin, it's not like you can't divide that out. And I think they call them Yoshis, or as some Japanese word, I can't remember, for the smallest unit. But right now it's fractions, hundredths of a penny. And even if it gets into the $100,000 range, those small millions of a piece would still only be fractions of a penny. So it is divisible. You don't have to use your whole Bitcoin all at one time. It's not like it's a solid whole unit. And transactions online are very fast. And you do have a small fee usually, but like from what I've seen, to buy mine was only like $1 and some change as far as a fee. These fees to use the Bitcoin are far less than anything the bank is charging. Not to mention, you don't have to worry about bank confiscation of your funds like we're seeing in Cyprus. So this is like a progression or a evolution of currency. We're going from this debt-based, slave currency to something different. And this Bitcoin is certainly something different. I don't think people are ready to go to gold and silver coin. They still see it as barbaric. The media has done a great job at demonizing it. And not to mention, make sure you don't keep anything in your safety deposit boxes. DHS sent a letter to all the banks. This is being reported. I haven't talked to my bank yet, but I'm going to ask them about this. about whether they got a letter from DHS saying that everything inside of their safety deposit boxes, anything of real value, is confiscatable by DHS. So, people are going to find, or they're going to come to a realization that you cannot have any confidence in these traditional banks. The way they're set up, they are all, reverse debt Ponzi schemes. They are all insolvent by nature because of the fractional reserve banking model. Bitcoin is a step in the right direction. I don't know if it's the answer, but it's certainly a step in the right direction. And if you've got 10, 15, 20 ounces of silver, you should go out and buy yourself a Bitcoin next to help complement that. Because if you want to do online transactions in the future, it's a lot easier to do it with the Bitcoin rather than, taking the chance of shipping silver for something you may or may not get, or accepting it that way. So those are my thoughts. We'll have an update here in a couple of days to see what the price is going to do. As far as these price swings, I think it's basically which population is off work at which time zone, and how strong that national currency is, and what are the rumors or the threats of bank runs in the after work hours of those time zones. Because Mt. Gox does carry just under 80% of all the Bitcoin transactions. the buy and sell offers, that's going to be the most accurate gauge, but it's not like you've got one market opening in one time zone and then closing, and then a different market opening up. It's not like the gold and silver market. It's just one continuous market that stays open 24 hours a day, and since most of the transactions go through this one exchange, everything is, it all depends on who's awake and how strong their currency is and how fearful they are of their domestic banks. So I fully expect to see massive price swings because, and you've also got to think, this currency's been out for a couple of years. The people who got in at, under $10 are going to be looking to get out in this $100 to $200 range. Once we flush out the weak hands that got in under, say, $50, and they're all out, once it crosses 200, that's when we'll see, we'll gradually see prices go higher. We'll see massive swings, consolidations like we saw yesterday, and then another spike up. I don't expect a crash. At this point, I think there's pretty strong support at 120, and we'll see what happens with it. I think I think it's a complementary currency to silver. I don't see it as a competitor. Silver and gold, they're great for person-to-person transactions. You're doing stuff, long distance. The Bitcoin is a lot more convenient, and I think the public is going to move into this new digital currency before they fully awaken to the gold and silver. So, get both of them, and don't forget, start your gardens and rice and beans, lots of it. Bye.